The round 7 review brought to you by DrivingMaul. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul, your best play story predictions and opinion. And sorry for this is a fourth take because apparently I have been having audio issues, which has made this live stream drop. Sorry, but we're here now. And you know what? We had to persist because you know what? We might not be seeing much rugby in the near future. So as I say I've got Stephen with me. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, very good. Thank you, Paul. Once again, a privilege and a pleasure to be on the TDM. Hopefully they're not the last one, given what's basically happening out there at the minute, Paul, but it is definitely strange times.
It is strange times. Now, before anyone gets worried, I will still be here doing Hash Rugby chat shows on a Tuesday. There just won't be any Super Rugby to do a preview and a review show for. But Hash Rugby chat shows, I'm sure there'll be plenty of rugby stuff to talk about. And if you are looking for content thinking, my God, what am I going to do? What can I think about for rugby? Head over to DrivingMaul.com. I've just done, yesterday put out a video looking at the comparative, how difficult everyone's schedule has been this season in Super Rugby. You might be surprised as to who has had the hardest schedule and who has had the easiest one. Does that top 8 really reflect the order of the teams, considering the difficulties of their schedules? Go check out that video, DrivingMaul.com, and you will find out. Hi, Simon, in the live chat. If you're in the live chat, do say hi. Let us know where you're from, actually, and what you thought of the results at the weekend. So, yes, someone says, imagine if no rugby for the rest of the year. I don't think anybody is contemplating it being that bad. But yes, I think we are in for a bit of a break now. Australia has just announced that there's no club rugby until I think it's the 5th of May, or the early May at least. So clearly it any chances of Super Rugby resuming within a couple of weeks, I think is a little bit what's the word I'm looking for here?
Premature.
Pardon?
Premature.
Well, definitely premature and also unrealistic as well. But anyway, action that did happen. The Chiefs versus the Hurricanes, 24-27. Look, this is a Chiefs side that's been impressing us. And then, up against the Brumbies, up against Hurricanes, at home twice, they come unstuck. Now, this one was close right until the end. Have the Chiefs got a little bit of a little bit of a weak underbelly?
Well, you do start to wonder, Paul, because we expected them to hit back, and to an extent they did, and really and truthfully, I won't get too far down the track, but there were times in this game where you actually thought they had it under control. But I think the way that the Hurricanes started, they pretty much made a statement really early that they were there to stay. I mean, to say, I'll let you get to the action or the scoring parts, but I think they pretty much put a line in the sand pretty early.
Yeah, I mean, early discipline issues from the Chiefs, and they were absolutely in the Canes' face defensively. I mean, both sides were up for this one, definitely. But then TJ inside ball, Lam Appy, and the pass goes to Grass, but they still managed to get the ball out to Ben Lam. And look, that is a fantastic back line. If you get enough go forward, it doesn't matter about the ball going to Grass. Everyone will talk about just getting it into that space. And if you've got enough go forward, if the defence are retreating fast enough, they're not going to scoop it up anyway. So it didn't matter that hit the ball. We had a bit of Karifi doing what he does, basically playing on the edge, giving up penalties. But it was interesting that the Chiefs were going for posts at this point. They didn't go for the corner like we see what a lot of teams do nowadays.
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations, Paul, where I think you know you're in a contest. I think sometimes you can always sense when another team is up, and I just think they wanted to probably create a little bit of scoreboard pressure. Get over the line, and then basically get back into the half and see if they can put some more pressure on the Hurricanes.
They did. The Hurricanes were going corner early doors. I mean, they definitely had opportunities. They then had a penalty on halfway, which they kicked for sticks, and that totally confused the commentators. So let me explain to you what the thought process for the Hurricanes was. If we get a penalty in their half, and we can kick to the corner to get close to the corner, we'll kick to the corner. If we get a penalty on halfway, where we know if we kick to the corner, we're still just going to be on the 22. We're not actually going to get to the corner. Then we might as well pin them back by kicking sticks, have the drop out, and just and attack again, because we're attacking from about the same place anyway. Now, they missed the kick. The Chiefs took a very quick drop out, which foiled the plan of getting the ball back. But that's the reason why the Hurricanes were kicking sticks from halfway, but they weren't closer in. It's because closer in, from halfway, they can't get into that corner, which is why they did it. They ended up with a good lead of 10-14 at half time. The Chiefs really were going for it after the hooter, but couldn't get that extra score, because getting that last score before half time is a real morale booster for teams. But the Canes managed to do that. Jaco Piper, he was being strict, wasn't he? His 100th and 11th game, I think it was, he was being strict on both sides.
Oh, listen, I thought he was pretty good. I mean, to say he was pretty accurate in a lot of his decisions. Just on that try, Fletcher Smith obviously finished it off, but I thought the catalyst for that try was a fantastic run by Devin Flanders, getting them well over the advantage line. And I think once they got in behind the Chiefs, that very, very quick ball, and of course Fletcher Smith on Aiden Ross. Well, you only got one winner there, haven't you, Paul?
Yep, no, absolutely. And he showed. I mean, Fletcher Smith has been taking a bit of flack early pre-season as being a bit of a journeyman, not made it anywhere. Perhaps he wasn't going to make it at Super Rugby level. Look, having watched him at Waikato, look, he's very good at that level. Maybe he's finding the transition, the little less time he has taken a while for him to get used to at Super Rugby level. But I think he is. Look, he's a very good operator. Am I going to say he's Bowden Barrett level? No, but I still think he's a very good operator at this level.
Paul, and once again, just a case of a first five getting quick ball on the run, and we know that he's got a good skill set, and you know, despite I could think of a mistake where he dropped a high kick, but I think he was just basically thinking about what his next play was going to be. If you recall, I think he dropped one down on the 10-metre mark. But man, it's great. He's just showing with good, quick, go forward ball. We see the best of his skills.
We do. We then had a bit of a crazy period after half time. Both sides kind of attacking and messing it up. We had fly hacks, we had all sorts of stuff, and it all got a bit messy. But it was the Chiefs that came back in, came with it. Cruden, I've been really impressed in this season. Hit the line, offload to Manu. Manu, who I must admit, I was surprised he got selected ahead of both Quintapaya and Nankivell. But hey, he proved his worth and went over and got the try. We had a bit of fun and games with Dane McKenzie kicking the ball backwards, not on purpose either. We had a crossfield kick by the Canes as well. So there's some interesting kicking tactics or kicking execution going on. TJ head high tackle on Alamalo. I'm happy with the yellow card. Alamalo was dropping down, but that was definitely a card. All day long. So you could see TJ, as soon as it was the yellow, was like, phew, I've got away with it.
For me, it was definitely a yellow card, but it kind of wouldn't have surprised me if it had gone the other way as well, Paul.
Although, it was definitely a card. It was only a matter of which colour.
But I think Jaco, like I said, and I come back to having somebody of Jaco Papa's experience. He pretty much looked at how he saw it and he felt there was just enough, what do they call them? Mitigating circumstances, that the player was ducking into the tackle. Good decision.
Yep. The Chiefs got themselves a quick try after that, but then really wasted the rest of that yellow card, put bluntly. During the next, because they obviously got the converted try, but the Chiefs the Hurricanes knocked over 2 penalties. So it was only 7-6 during that period. That was really when the Chiefs should have taken this game and won it.
No.
They didn't know, Jordy missed one of the penalties. Sorry, it was 7-3 during that period. But really, it was interesting. TJ go to 10. Sorry, at that point, Jay moved at 9, and it took a while for the Hurricanes to adapt to that. To be honest with you, he went missing on the next series of play. There was no one at first receiver for a while. And it took them a while. And when you've only got 10 minutes left, 40 minutes left, having your 10 go missing for 2 minutes was, interesting. But the Canes,
But I thought, Paul, despite that, I thought the really good thing was the value that they got off their bench, especially from the likes of Jamie Booth. Can remember him making that break gate. Really awesome break down the sideline. I thought he brought a lot of energy, along with Amua and Rakete Stones, who made a lot of tackles during the game as well. I know he missed an earlier tackle, but I really don't blame him for that one because they were down a man, and that was because of the loss of TJ Perenara and the likes of Fido and Scrafton, and they really got some value out of their bench on this occasion, and I think that helped.
No, it definitely did. When you're talking about tackles, Rakete Stones, 5 tackles. So, but he wasn't on for that long. So yeah, and he got through a bit there. And then finally, they line out Maul. So discipline let Chiefs down again. I mean, it's the first thing I mentioned at the top of the page. Line out Maul, and then 38 phases the Hurricanes went through. Now the Chiefs did well to maintain their discipline for 30 odd of those phases, but in the end, discipline let them down. And a late hit by Sakalua was unfortunately what led to the loss. Now,
actually, Paul, I'm going to cut him a bit of slack because the penalty was actually against Ruben O'Neill.
Was it? Okay.
The replacement, and it was basically for a no arms tackle where he basically drove low at the legs. I saw a tweet on I think it was Nigel Yeldon's Twitter account where the question was basically asked at the press conference, and that's what the penalty was for. Which Sawakula, though, even though you mentioned him, I actually thought he was one of the Chiefs' better players on the night.
Yeah, no, he had a very good game on the night. But it was turnovers that were the thing that let down the Chiefs. 11 turnovers in this game, and the chief culprit was Sean Stevenson. 7 carries, 3 turnovers. That really is. You've got to look after the pill much better than that. I mean, Sawakula also gave away 3 turnovers and Dave McKenzie 2, but Sawakula had 12 carries and he's carrying in traffic a lot more. David McKenzie had 14 carries, but 7 carries, 3 turnovers. Yeah, that's not good enough by Sean Stevenson, I'm afraid.
Yeah, Paul. I think we may have touched on Paul on Sean Stevenson in on a previous show that we know he's got some talent. And he is capable of these amazing things. We think of how much pace he's got when he's got one-on-one. He's got footwork. Got that beautiful little flip pass to Brad Weber. But he can be rocks and diamonds, and unfortunately, the rocks came out on Friday night.
Yeah, he's one of those players that seems to get attention. Staying switched on seems to be the question around him, to be honest. So great win by the Canes there over the Chiefs. I think not what anybody was really expecting. We followed that up, and we're both wearing our Blues jerseys for a reason. We followed that up on Saturday with a very early kickoff of 4:25 between the Blues and Lions, 43-10. Wow. But to be fair, and this is one of those ones that kind of blew out a bit in the second half. We had some silly things early on. I mean, Parsons, he's a veteran of this team, slapping the ball down at the ruck, giving away. Okay, they missed the kick at goal, but yeah, discipline was not not good early on. And you think silly plays like that are why Blues fans wonder why he's still there, isn't it?
Oh, very, very much so. It was a real great opportunity to start hard and fast against the Lions and knock the confidence out of them. But those 3 penalties, in my opinion, there were 3 penalties. I think there was Parsons, Lindemuth gave one away, and I think it might have been Blake Gibson also gave a silly penalties away. And teams like South African teams are very much confidence sides, and to give them field position, it just means that they can win their set piece. Their big forwards are able to handle the ball, and they put you under a bit of pressure. That's the strength of their game, and I think for me that was just a little bit disappointing because I think against better teams you get punished for doing those sort of things.
Yeah, you do, absolutely. A lot of the story around this will be how Rico is back to form, and he got an early try. Terry Black should have offloaded to him and he would have got over easily, but he got back into position, got the ball and at the second time of asking, got himself over for the try. Black didn't help himself by missing the conversion there as well. The Blues, I mean, this was built as much on defence as it was attack. I mean, they're 92% tackling. They had to make 140, or they made 143 tackles, and they stopped the Lions line out more, which takes some doing. They're well known, but the Lions backed that up with going through a hell of a lot of phases. I didn't catch the count, but it started outside the 22. They worked their way forward slowly, getting metre by metre, earning each inch for the bash, and eventually bashed over to even things up. But the Blues kept on making errors. Satutu, fantastic break. Unfortunately, the pass then goes over someone's head, and they got lucky there because the Lions took a basically self-destructed, took a quick line out, lost the ball, and suddenly they're behind as they give a penalty up in front of their posts. So there were errors. I mean, we had from both sides 16 and 15 turnovers, and it was one of those turnovers that led to a fractured defence that led to a break for Perifetta to score, and 15-7. You're thinking, hey, at half an hour, right? The Blues are going to get into their stride here, and they did enough. I had to disappear off to. I think this was when my housemate was screaming in the kitchen, standing on a stool as we had mice running around in the kitchen.
As long as there wasn't a rope hanging from the ceiling, Paul. Jeepers. Sorry.
So yes, we've put traps down, folks. Don't worry, we've caught three mice in the kitchen, so we think we've solved the problem.
Jeepers. I was going to say, during that first half, something that was a point of disappointment for me, and once again, when you get opportunities against the better sides, you've got to take them. You spoke about Hoskins Satutu with the pass that went over the sideline, but he also ignored Sam Nock, where it was basically a draw and pass. There was also another drop ball. I can't remember. It might have been Pierce. You know, you've really got to nail those opportunities. It's the difference between being a good side on the prove and a side that's making a statement. There's probably no reason why they could have almost had 40-odd points on the Lions by half-time, Paul.
Yeah, no, true. They got the penalty try as well for deliberate knock-on. I'll be honest, I missed it in real time, but it came, but it went over, so the TMO caught it and they went over. I was talking about some turnovers. So Duffy 3 turnovers in this game, Rico 2, TJ Fiani 2, Perifetta 1. The backs for the Blues, turned it over quite a bit in this one. Nalwaya came on and turned it over as well. So there's they definitely need to shore that up from the Blues. But you say against this side, against this Blue side, against this Lion side, sorry, it's not going to it's not going to hurt them. They camped in the second. They great TJ offload to 2-2. Went out to Rico to score. There was going to be a was this one where there was a different game. We had some great offloads for a score. And during that yellow card, a penalty try and 2 more tries, and that's really what lost the Lions the game.
Very, very, very much so. I must highlight one of those tries though. The try scored by Kelly Tuerti was a very, very good try. A lot of good skills. Support players getting themselves in the right position. I think Sam Nock handled a couple of times. In fact, I thought probably Sam Nock in the backs just seems to me gets better and better with all the game time he gets. And I think Kelly Tuerti has come back from injury and is just showing some signs that he basically wants to be the locking partner for Patrick Tuipulotu in this Blues team moving forward.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it's playing well. And remember, look, this is a 43-10 win without Patrick Tuipulotu, without Ofa Tuangafasi, without Joe Marchant. So 3 internationals missing from this team, and they still get a 43-10 win. So yeah, the Blues definitely heading in the right direction.
Paul, I was going to say, not to mention Kautu Nukuyafi, who was a very late withdrawal from this Blues lineup.
Yep. A bit of a concern, Papali'i going for a HIA. Now, I think he's had HIA issues in the past, so I'm a bit concerned that's going to be concerning. Obviously, with no rugby going on, there's going to be no pressure to rush him back. So he'll hopefully take his time to sort that out, which is good. But as you say, when Ruru came on, we had a silly late hit, allowing the Lions to go to the corner, and just Ruru, it just didn't spark anything in the 20 odd minutes he was on for. Simon saying he's not, pardon me, a fan of the 4:25 kickoff, and yes, it does make it hard to get back from club rugby, but this was because of coronavirus and the Sunwolves having to play in Australia. A lot of people do ask for daytime games though, so it's a hard place.
Paul, I was going to say this game was originally scheduled for 7:05. Was it originally scheduled for 7:05?
Yep.
And it was just a bit unfortunate because at the same time on Saturday they had a pre-season round of club rugby at Waimea Park, the Wakanathan Cup, where all the Auckland club sides pretty much gather at the same venue and play a tournament, which pretty much starts. I think it started around about midday, and the last games were played about 5:30. So I'm pretty sure there were a lot of people that would have loved to have gone along to that Blues game if it was played later in the evening.
Yeah, it's a shame. But coronavirus is obviously impacting our lives in a lot of ways, and this is one of them, unfortunately. So yeah, I've got to say, Lions a long way off from where they need to be. Blues heading in the right direction. Good win from them, especially with having those players rotated, rested. Talking of Corona, we headed over to Sunwolves versus the Crusaders. After that one in, I've gone blank, wherever it was, in Australia.
Brisbane.
Brisbane, thank you. Yes, it was the Reds one. The Sunwolves made a good fist of it in the first half. I'm sure the Crusaders had the territory, or had the territory in possession. Gone and got my games in the wrong order for my stats. But yeah, to be only 7-14 down at half time was showed some guts by this Sunwolves side.
Very much so, Paul. I mean to say, it took the Crusaders 19 minutes. Tom Christie scoring, I wouldn't say an early try, but just as the first quarter had ended, and then the Sunwolves hit back with a try of their own to Garth April, and it really wasn't until the 36th minute, 4 minutes before half time, that Sevu Reece scored, and Brett Cameron with the conversion. We don't see him making many starts, but he was pretty much on cue with his goal kicking on the weekend.
Yep, and then obviously something was said at half time in the sheds. The Crusaders fixed things up, came out in the second half, and to be fair, again, the Sunwolves managed to keep it within 7 until about the hour mark, but in that last 20 minutes, it all just was all kind of one way. We did, though, have a red card for Roach for swinging elbow, and anyone who suggests it wasn't a red card really needs a head seeing to. It was a blatant red card. Reece followed that up with a yellow 2 minutes later, and suddenly the Crusaders are down 2 players. But that didn't stop them. They racked up a couple of tries in the last 10 minutes to put this one away, 14-49. So yeah, discipline. I think that obviously they got the win they needed, but at the end of the day, I don't think Razor's going to be very happy with the performance from this game and the discipline from his players.
No, I don't. I think you're correct. I think hence the way they actually finished that game, you could just see there was a little bit of attitude about their performance in the last, even though they were down to 13 men until Reece came back on the paddock, but that was pretty late late in the piece, you could just see there was a distinctive lift in this Crusaders team. They obviously wanted to finish over the top of the Sunwolves. They were in danger at one part during the game of maybe giving up an important bonus point, especially when the score was only 21-14. Listen, I've got to mention a special mention for Garth April, the first five for the Sunwolves. He played a very, very good game and capped it off with a fine try as well up through the middle.
Yeah, but again, 17 turnovers by this Crusaders team. That, again, against a better side than the Sunwolves, that is going to hurt you. So, yeah, this was, you're right, the intensity did pick up in the final quarter, but before then, yeah, the Crusaders weren't anywhere near the best in this one. It was during all this was going on that we were getting the kind of the announcements of the 14-day lockdown and how that basically would take out Super Rugby. So I'll be honest, I didn't actually end up taking any notes of the next game, which is Reds versus the Bulls. But the Bulls started strongly, and the Reds did really well to keep their heads and just come back and bash them in the end. Because I'd say, yeah, the Bulls came out, tried to Papier and Speckman and Gallant, all in the first sort of quarter before the Reds even got on the board. This was 17-0 at one point, and you're thinking, wow, where's this Bulls side been?
Yeah, and it was definitely a slow start from the Reds, and at 17-0, I thought, gee, there's a bit of an upset on the cards. But once again, I think when they get moved around a bit, I think they're very vulnerable, Paul. And credit to the Reds, they've got some finishing power. They know how to finish, and that sort of 10-minute spell just before halftime brought them right back into the game. And I think it was just really the confidence that they needed to completely finish the Bulls off in the second half.
Yeah, and discipline was a big thing here. 5 penalties by the Reds, 14 by the Bulls. And when you're giving up 9 more penalties and the opposition's line-out is functioning pretty well, you're going to be getting marched back all the time, which is going to be a tough one. They only kicked 1 penalty, so lots of kicks to the corner, lots of kicks for territory. 18 clean breaks, though, by the Reds. Gives you an indication that this Bulls defence did tire.
And I was about to say, Paul, more importantly, 41 unanswered points.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, they really. But this is a good young. We saw we've seen what this Reds team is capable and moving forward. Brad Thorne must be really, really happy, probably frustrated like most Super Rugby supporters that the season's been suspended, because he definitely could be onto something here.
He could. James O'Connor, a player obviously that's played a lot on the wing, a lot of fullback, a lot in centre, so definitely a running fly half. 13 runs in this game. Spate, a player that a lot of us I think probably thought was coming up here for a quiet retirement, but has really flourished up in Brisbane this season, having one of his best seasons for a couple of years. Let's be honest, and being one of the leaders in what is a young back line, so has been playing well. That sounded like an air raid siren going off in the background there.
That's our road outside, which just happens to be a local drag strip for some of the local tunes.
Salakai
This is West Auckland.
Well, it is West Auckland. Yes, exactly. Salakai Lotto, another player who has a player who's tended to have good and bad games, but has managed to string a couple of good games together recently as well. So perhaps he's maturing in that role. Yeah, I'd say good games by the by a number of players on the Reds side. Gallant had a lot of play in this game. 16 passes, 17 runs for a fullback. Compare it to Campbell, 2 passes, 2 runs. That shows you that Gallant was involved in this game an awful lot more than he probably wanted to be. To be honest. So congratulations. Yeah, the Reds showing some good signs. As I was saying before about looking that I did that piece looking at the relative strengths of the different teams or different schedules. I would say though that the Reds have had one of the easier schedules this season. If you think that they've played so far the Brumbies, Lions, Jaguares, Sunwolves, Sharks, Crusaders, Bulls. I mean, in the Lions, Sunwolves, and Bulls, they've got three of those teams are in the bottom half of the competition. So they've had they've had one of the easier schedules this season, and still are sat in the bottom half of the table. So yeah, there's a long way for them to go. We then went over to South Africa for the one game over there with the Sharks versus the Stormers. Let's be, I guess, let's be kind of clear about it. There should have been a red card basically as soon as the whistle was blown, pretty much. I mean, initial kickoff, the player gets taken out. He lands on his upper back, bangs his head down next. Clearly, the referee, the TMO's like, this is a red. The referee backs down and goes, it's the first minute. I can't give a red. I've got to give it a yellow. Sorry, mate, but no, that was a red card all day long. People are saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter how he lands." So, yes, it does. That's exactly what the laws or the protocols for the say. It's how he lands, and he does land, and on his upper back, and then his head hits the floor. So yeah, he should have gone. He should have been the. We should have had a red card from the
I'm in agreement. I think I tweeted somewhere it was a red card every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Yep. And I know it probably would have had a big effect on the game. It was great that we still ended up with a competitive game, but it was a poor decision by the official.
Yep. A bit too easy for me. I've only seen the highlights. Just want to be fair. A bit too easy for me. A bit for me when Roberts got dislocated from his inside man, left the hole. The late pass saw someone hit the hole really well. Through for a try. The Sharks came back with a good kick return, where the Stormers just didn't follow up properly. But a drop goal just before half time basically meant that the Sharks went in 3 points up. And we talked earlier about how it's important to get that score going into half time because it gives you that momentum. It makes the dressing room much more positive. And that drop goal with basically in extra time in the first half was. Would have really helped the Sharks in the dressing rooms. You come out, the Sharks still an opportunity, but they get a penalty and start to and look to try and build that scoreboard, pull away, only for the Stormers to come back with a great, some great lines and timing for their try. But again, a long penalty from their own half. A scrum penalty, and then it gives the Sharks the lead, and then with time basically up, just way too quick. Dylan Lades is a very good player, but at the end of the day, look, he's a 10 or he's more a 10 or a 12, 15 than he is a winger. He's a ball playing player, and he was always going to get skinned out wide.
Paul, one of the areas, in my opinion, where to me was a big difference was in the halves, Schroeder and Bosch, and up against the likes of Yanchis. Well, we know Yanchis is a very good support player, finished off a very good try, and Duplessis the first five. I just thought that they were sort of shaded in that halves area throughout this game.
Yeah, and just and the Sharks dominated territory in possession, and runs and meters. Yeah, they were playing well. They missed a bunch of kicks. 62% kicking is not very clever. So this one shouldn't really have been as close as it was going into the dying minutes. But it was close. It could have gone either way. But it fell their way in the end. Batman's saying that Sharks are the 2020 champions. Congratulations, well done, because they topped the table. As I say. Go and have a look at my video talking about how strong and how difficult and how easy their schedules have been. They've not had the most difficult run of games, I can tell you. But no, you got to look. This Sharks side looks a million miles better than last year, and most of that I think, and that's comes down to the fact that they've changed coaches. They've got a guy who's got a happy camp, got them playing together, got them playing for each other, and enjoying playing together. And I'm sure there's some tactical stuff that's also happened around the coaching, blah blah blah. But from a but you can just see them just being happier, and if you're happier, you're going to play better. I think that's the biggest change for them this year.
Yeah, and a lot of firepower at the back with Fussy and Mapimpi, guys like that. These are good footballers.
They are, but they've had those guys for a couple of years and just not been able to use them. Whereas this year, they've managed to use them and turn it around. The Stormers, though, missing World Player of the Year, missing the South African captain, missing injuries. That's your big problem for the Stormers, and yeah, it's shown the depth of their squad. But let's be honest, any squad or any team losing those two players would be lesser because of it.
Mm.
The Jaguares versus the Highlanders was obviously called off, and the Highlanders now are in transit back to New Zealand. They're going to get back here, or even if, I'm not sure if they're back here yet or not, but basically they're off into 14 days of isolation. So that's 2 weeks that they are going to have to basically train solo. Now, that doesn't mean that when it's a solo isolation, it doesn't mean they can't leave the house. It just means when they leave the house, they've got to run and train on their own. They can't run and train as a group or with other people. So they'll be doing that to keep up their fitness. Simon Hughes says, "Can we start Mitre 10 Cup?" No, we can't. We've got Club Rugby first. Jeez.
No, we can't. We can't start any rugby until we get to go ahead.
So yes. The final game of the round saw the Brumbies take on the Waratahs. Now, for the first hour of this game, I tried to hold my tongue. I really did. But after an hour, I just couldn't take it anymore, and I had to tweet about the fact how awful Phil Kearns is as a commentator. How one-eyed. I mean, look, I kind of vaguely get it when it's a Bledisloe Cup game that he's Australian. He's been he's a very fierce Australian competitor, international, blah blah blah. But when it comes to Brumbies versus Waratahs, come on, it's two Australian sides. I understand he's an ex-Tar, but even so, come on, stop being quite so one-eyed about this. Boy, would you have any go at the ref when, at the end of the day, as Hooper said in the post-match conference, that they let themselves down with their poor discipline. This wasn't about the referee blowing one way. It was about one side being dumb with their discipline, and that really hurt them. They did start off well, to be fair, and they kept it even for the first hour. Good to see a couple of locks using their heights to score tries, one for each side. It's good also to see the Tars actually defending the line out more pretty well. There were no tries straight from it. Kata did get the ball off the back of one and spun in to score, but yeah, they were defending that pretty well. There was consistency around allowing forward passes in this game, but we've come to expect that from a lot of referees. And it really came down to the fact that neither side wanted to hold on to the pill in that first sort of half hour. And as soon as the Brumbies did and they went through a bunch of phases, they scored a try and took the lead at 21-14 at half time. And basically just didn't look back from there, did they?
No, not at all. And yeah, you could argue, I know the Solomon Kata try, the second try, there was an inside pass, and probably the final pass from the transfer from Banks to Kata. Yeah, that looked a line ball, but to be brutally honest, when your defence is falling away like that, I think you ask more questions about yourself than you do the officials.
Yep, no, absolutely. And one of the big differences in this game, and it doesn't show up quite so clearly at the end of it, but the Waratahs were, because the Brumbies spent a lot of time actually doing it, clearing skits, but in the first half in particular, the Brumbies I think Waratahs had like two, maybe three lineouts in the first half, because the Brumbies were like, okay, we know you're going to play from anywhere, so we're just going to kick it to you and let you play from anywhere and see what you'll do with it. The Waratahs in their own 22 clearance kick to get. We're going to go to we're going to kick it out on the full and clear out. And it was really interesting seeing the different tactics at work between these two sides. In the first half, it was pretty even. Let's be honest, but in the second half, when the Brumbies started, when the Waratahs got more territory and possession but didn't score any points, the Brumbies started to kick it out more. So say the lineouts of those 13 lineouts, I think 10 of them were in the second half for the Brumbies. For the Waratahs. The Brumbies had 21 lineouts in this game. And it shows you that the Waratahs just kicked. They kicked for touch with their 11 kicks, but also those 12 penalties were all used to go to the corner and try to get the bonus.
I was going to say, Paul, a lot of their attack comes off the lineouts as well. And it's pretty effective. Although they're more like, what they'll basically do is set up a maul in the middle of the paddock, and they'll split their backs both ways. They do that they do it very well.
So Powell got a good try. He helped by the fact that Curtly Beale's hamstring went twing, and so he couldn't chase him down. The Tom Wright was then the extra man when the Waratahs lost a man to a yellow card. We had an interception try from an offload out wide, and you could see, and Phil Kearns was like, he was doing the right thing, yes, trying to get the offload going. It's like, guys, you've made 18 offloads in this game. You've had like 3 or 4 interceptions out wide. One of them is eventually going to get run back for a try. Stop trying to offload out wide. It doesn't work when there's lots of other people around you. So yeah, that interception try was coming for a long time, and then Banks, with time up with Waratahs obviously chasing the game. A good Muirhead made a good break. Actually, Muirhead had a pretty good game, and Banks finished off.
Well, I was about to say, Paul, I thought the replacement Ram was going to pick up his third try when Banks made that break, but Banks had the pace and the strength to go all the way.
Yep. So Banks is a shoo-in for. Oh, you're right. Yeah, Tom Wright. He's 2 tries and was a replacement. I forgot he'd come off the bench for those.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tom Banks. Everyone's saying is the Wallabies 15 in waiting. So it's going to be really interesting to see which direction Dave Rennie takes with this with the Wallabies, whether they'll go down that route. But I say that's where everyone thinks that that he'll be going. Really, the young 10 for the Brumbies. He's been playing pretty well. Harrison had an okay game, but he did well. Marky Mark, the young tall winger for the Waratahs. Nawakwet Twasi, known as Marky Mark, showed up that he just doesn't have the pace perhaps at this point. Yes, he's a tall, strong winger, but got it against small, quick backs. He's going to struggle as soon as he's turned. Some good play by Muirhead and Banks to sort of and Wright to exploit that. To go after it. So good win by the Brumbies. Sees them second in the table. It's been a long time since we've had a South African team at the top, an Australian team in second, and the top New Zealand side is only third.
It's good to see, Paul. We all know. I think over the years or the early part of Super Rugby that Brumbies. Both the irony at both the Brumbies and the Sharks were the flagship South African sides. I know Super Rugby in 1996. I think the very first Super Rugby final, Blues v Sharks. 1997, Blues v Brumbies at Eden Park. Before the Crusaders came along and spoilt the party for the Blues. And 1998.
So there we go. Yeah, so Sharks, Brumbies, and Blues. It's the classic teams back to the top of the of Super Rugby. It's back to the future. Unfortunately, we've had they've gone and cut it short. So Stephen, yeah, no more Super Rugby. As you said, people who complained that Super Rugby was starting so early are now complaining that there's no Super Rugby for them to watch.
Yeah, very much so. A couple of friends of mine who are not the greatest fans of the early start to the season and the Super Rugby concept are now the same people who are basically touching base with me and lamenting the fact there is no Super Rugby. So, sometimes be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I say Australia has called off club rugby until the early May. At the moment, in New Zealand, club rugby is still going ahead, but events with over 500 people are to be cancelled. So, that got announced today. Look, something new is getting announced each day around this, and I think that's quite deliberate to show that they want to show that they are actively doing things each day to keep everyone calm. But secondly, so that people actually understand each thing they bring out, rather than bringing out a whole raft of things at once, and people not understanding what and getting confused as to what's going on. So things are changing day to day. We'll have to see what will happen. The CEO for Sanzar came out and said they could probably survive a 4 to 5 week stoppage, and that after that it would be difficult for them to put any rugby together at all. And also, if that did happen, that he was suggesting, he didn't blatantly say so, but definitely the inference was that they would be losing teams, or we'd lose Super Rugby entirely due to financial losses if they can't get some sort of rugby together for this season. So expect Sanzar to be as inventive as they can be in trying to get some sort of rugby up and running before the end of the season. I will be doing a video over the next couple of days looking at what options I think Sanzar have for restructuring the rest of the season. So look out for that over at DrivingMaul.com. And Stephen, thank you very much for your time. I'm sure you'll be back once the rugby is back. But it might be a while for us before we have another review show.
Absolutely, it looks like I'll probably end up watching a lot of replays on Sky, or looking at maybe old video or YouTube, shall we say, of old games played in the past. Just before you go, interesting yesterday that, and just gives you an idea how quickly things are changing. Rob Nichol pretty much came out yesterday. I think the article came out around about 4:10 yesterday that maybe Kiwi Derby rugby for Super Rugby is realistic, but of course the announcement from the New Zealand Prime Minister is that basically groups getting together with more than 500 could that could be a bit of an issue.
Yeah, we'll have to see which way it goes. And Rob Nichol also said, look, planning anything more than 16 days in advance at the moment is a total waste of time. Okay, folks, because things are changing so quickly that this wouldn't necessarily happen. So we'll have to see what does eventuate from here. Jordan, what we'll do is I will have a show tomorrow night. I'll have a Hash Rugby Chat show tomorrow night. There's one slight complication, but I'm hopefully we'll have it tomorrow night, 8 p.m. where we'll obviously the main topic will be what is going to be the impact of coronavirus on rugby. We will. So basically, the Tuesday night shows where we talk about stuff off the pitch rather than the actual gameplay, which is what this Not Tonight show for. So yeah, all the impacts on that kind of stuff. Do let me wait for tomorrow night when we put the show out for that one. So thank you everybody for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Don't worry, this channel is not going away. We will have a show every Tuesday at 8 p.m. I will be still producing content on my website, DrivingMaul.com. There'll be still the supporter-only videos. I'll see with all these players not having anything to do, maybe I'll be able to get some player interviews as well. You never know. So look out for that, and do have a safe week, folks. Do look after yourselves.